Hi, how are
Hello,
you?
hello. Really good, really good, really good. Happy to see
Thank,
you and happy to be of some use and service here.
thank you so much for joining. It's Teacher's Day, so that's why I invited you. It's just impromptu conversation I thought that we can have on this day.
Yeah.
And what else to talk about then better than, one of the best teachers this world has witnessed and seen. So why do you think it is? Why do you think that
I think
that's
I think the first reason that absolutely comes to my mind, Sheetal, is because of the enduring nature of his message. So this person who had a conversation with his friend, and his friend who chose to make a teacher out of his friend thousands of years back. As far as we understand, from our scriptures, how has that message endured? There has to be something extremely special about this person and his message that his method of teaching, his words have endured for such a long time. So for me, that is one thing that always strikes me. And it has also stood the test of time, right? We're here in the 21st century, we're in 2023, we're trying to discuss about and trying to remember him on Teachers' Day. We could have chosen almost any person from history, and there have been amazing, brilliant teachers in history, and some amazing prophets, even in other religions, even within the scope of Sanatan Dharma. But somehow, Krishna's message just goes beyond boundaries, it goes beyond sectarianism, it goes beyond a particular class and section of people, and that's why I personally am a huge fan, if I were to put it like that.
That's so wonderful that you say. So, is there anything that Krishna has shared in Bhagavad Gita that talks about Guru or how to attain a Guru, or what's the steps that all of us in 2023 can also apply?
There is one very direct verse where Krishna is talking about how to approach a spiritual master and how a spiritual master should be. So that verse is the 34th verse in the 4th chapter of the Gita, where Krishna says, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattva darshana. Which means that tad vidhi pranipatena, that you approach a person who has seen the truth, who you feel has realized or attained anything. Now, of course, we can, when we are looking to get into a college, when we are looking to get admission into any place where we want to learn something of value, something of significance, I think one of the first things that we all still do is to try and check the qualification of the institute, of the people who are teaching there. And this is what Krishna is exactly talking about thousands of years back. But it's a very important formula, which I feel, Sheetal, many of us are missing. Again, I'm not going to say that this generation is missing or any other generation is missing or millennials are missing or Gen Z is missing. But I feel, yes, that what Krishna is talking about, that once you found a capable teacher, tat vidhi pranipatena you surrender. Surrendering is often taken in very negative connotations that, you just follow blindly whatever they're saying. See, even Arjuna doesn't blindly follow what Krishna is saying.
No.
It's he keeps doing his questioning, counter questioning, and everything. But surrender is that at least go with an open mind, as far as what I understand. Go with an open mind and try and serve them through your own intellectual curiosity. Ask questions. If you want to learn, ask questions. He says pariprashnena sevaya. When he talks about service through your attention, service through your listening, service through your attentiveness. Again, as I said, and then he says, Upadekshanti tenanam jnaninas tattva darshana. A person who has seen the truth, a person who's realized in any subject, any field, they can then guide you. So that is his message. That is his enduring message on how to approach a teacher and also how to find a teacher. I always use this verse to remind myself as to how I am, I also have had the privilege of teaching people. And then I also go back to this verse thinking, okay, how do I have to be, that if I have to share a subject, do I even know about it? Am I practicing it? And then, of course, for the students, whenever I've tried to become a student, tried to learn something, then I also have kept it in mind that you have to go with a sense of surrender. That, okay, right now I'm here. Maybe, of course, once I go back, once I'm not learning directly from the teacher, I can make my own calculations. But right now, let me keep an open mind and learn as much as I can, absorb as much as I can.
Yeah. So that's an interesting point that you just mentioned, surrender, and you also said faith. So
Yeah.
how do you need to have faith in order to surrender, and how do you build a faith on a teacher or on a guru? For example, if I join an institution, right? A friend of mine today called, she's moving to a different country altogether to do a course. So how to have that kind of faith? Do you enter into a guru shishya relationship with the faith, or do you build it?
I think firstly, it sometimes is derived, Sheetal. Like say when I picked up, so I'll take the example of Gita only, right? So I picked up that book because I heard from, so many people, oh, it's so good. People from all across the world are talking about it and they're saying it's really nice. So firstly, I'm trusting somebody else. I'm trusting a review. So even if I have to say, not just Bhagavad Gita, I'm a reader. But before I pick up a book, honestly, I do go and check the reviews on Amazon. I do go and check what people on Goodreads are saying about that book. And often, I'll not deny that often my decision does get influenced by what others are saying. So, okay, if I have to join a particular company, if I have to join, become a enter, any institute or seek learning from somebody, I may just ask around. Okay, what's your experience with the teacher? Somebody who I know that maybe I don't know if I can trust a person, but I can ask around. Okay, what's been your experience? If somebody is willing to share that, how is the institute? How is the person? What is their methodology of teaching? But after that, yes, I still have to carry my own faith. And you very rightly said, it then builds upon time with your own experience. Because maybe their methods of teaching may have worked out for so many other people. It may not work out for me. But I may still end up missing the magic. Why I always refer back to the verse that I just mentioned, that 4.34 verse, is that what happens is that it always reminds me ki bhai, keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. So if I'm going to learn, say, even if I have to attend a 1 hour class, I have to attend a trial class somewhere, if I have to go to an institute, let me give them some time. Because sometimes a person may take time for them to be able to share what they want to share. So I think for me, I like to conclude, to just conclude this point, it is derived. The faith is a bit derived, and you can try and be positively influenced or negatively influenced by your own research. And then once you've done your research, etc., then you try and surrender and see, okay, how. And again, a very important point which I missed, I just very quickly want to add, a person can teach you, the best possible things that they know in any field. But we have to apply. At the end of the day, we have to, try and apply those teachings. Otherwise, we can never know. Like even when we're here discussing about the Gita, right? Me and you, we know we can talk about this subject for hours and hours to end. But people, I think, ultimately should get inspired when they hear this podcast, when they hear our conversations. I think one of pick up the book, right? Find their own meaning out of it. So that's something that we.
That's very nice. And in fact, I've just picked up a point that you said, that in the world, and at that point of time when Krishna was here on earth, there were no likes, there were no reviews, right? So how did everyone around him, or how did Arjun choose him as his, teacher?
Oh, fantastic question, Sheetal. I think his life was the biggest teaching. His life, people observing the kind of things that, so, there's a wonderful section that comes in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is talking about his divinity. He starts talking about his divinity very directly from the 9th, 10th chapter onwards. So before that, like Arjuna says, by the starting of 11th chapter, he says, I accept. I've heard about you from many knowledgeable people. He says that, Asito, Devalo, Narad, so many he names where the luminaries of his time. He said, they all accept you as somebody very special. He says, I also accept it. But can you please show it to me? So, of course, then Arjuna gets a direct vision of the Vishwarupam, etc., all the things that are there, very, very inspiring and very jaw-dropping, in fact, if you ask me, section of the Bhagavad Gita. But I think Krishna's life itself was the biggest teaching. How he handled himself, how he was always graceful in every situation, how he kind of knew everything. Literally, people used to, be completely stunned and flawed that this guy just knows everything. And it is said about Krishna that whichever room he walked in, it's like people felt that energy of love. Even now, I'll give a very popular culture example. So I was hearing about, and of course, people, no offense to any person, we consider Krishna to be divine, me and you, we know. So again, to everybody who's watching it, or you may end up later watching it, it's not like I'm comparing a divinity to a human being. But I heard this interview of Mr. Karan Johar, who's a director in the Indian film industry, and he was talking about Shah Rukh Khan. He said that once he walked into his party, and he said everybody could take notice, right from his peers to even younger actors. So when we talk about aura of certain people that they carry, you can understand, what they have now. Shah Rukh Khan has not become Shah Rukh Khan just randomly. He's worked towards it. And so Krishna, okay, of course, maybe he's, he is a divine incarnation as far as our scriptures tell us. But Krishna, he carried a lot of love. You see the lifetimes of Sri Ramachandra, Sri Krishna. It's not that they were divine and they were saying, okay, now worship us. Their activities were filled with so much love, with so much kindness towards each and every person, always carrying a smile on his face. So Krishna is very famous for, always carrying a smile on his face. And a person like that always will have a lot of impact. And it is also said that Krishna always did not used to speak too much. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, you see, he doesn't start giving the gyan all of a sudden. It's only when Arjuna asks, he starts giving the gyan. Another lesson for us. Especially, most of us Indians, we love giving gyan to other people. But you see that Krishna, who's standing there, he doesn't, unless and until Arjuna says, please give me the knowledge. I put you in the position of a master and a guru. Give me knowledge. In the second chapter, 7th verse, Karpanya Doshopitsa Bhava, Prachami Kam Dharma Sammudha Cheta. He says, I'm now asking you directly, don't play along, don't be my friend. Tell me, I assume the position of a guru. So all these things of Krishna, see, even again, another incident that I remember from the Mahabharata, that when Yudhishthira's Rajasuya Yajna was happening, which is like how the G20 is happening. Something like that, Yudhishthira Maharaj during those times, he had won over so many kingdoms and he was trying to, establish his supremacy. But it was like a party kind of a festival and an environment that people from all over the world were in fact invited. If you read the Mahabharata, you'll realize people from China, people from Greece, Rome, so many people were invited. So it contained, that gathering contained all the luminaries of the entire world. And amongst them, when they thought about who to give, the first offering, the first special mention, and who to offer prayers to, who to facilitate. Somebody who's the first person that should be facilitated in our language, modern day language, it was Krishna. And nobody objected, apart from one person who hated him. So incidents like this, they just highlight the importance that the personality of Krishna carried and how much people looked up to him.
Yeah, no, I'm in awe of him. Of course, the more I read, the more I listen about him, and the more I talk, I get overwhelmed with the kind of experiences that he's had in his life. Like you just mentioned, and haters gonna hate Kushagra. You can't do anything about it. So has Krishna ever mentioned in any Veds or any books that you've come across, who was his guru?
Sandeepan. Yes, he did go. He did go to, he joined a proper school. So even Krishna, again, see, that is why, I think why he's a very effective teacher is because he, he leads by example. So it's not that he is going and when he went to his guru, there are many stories where he completely surrendered to the words of his guru. There's a very famous story involving his friend, we've heard about Sudama. So Sudama became his friends when he was studying. Of course, during his initial years in Vrindavan, when he was living as a mere cowherd boy, he didn't have much education. He used to play around. He used to, just serve the cows and take them for grazing, etc. Play his flute and all the very beautiful, sweet pastimes that we hear about Krishna. But once he assumed a leadership position in Dwarka, before actually assuming leadership position in Dwarka, it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, which is kind of the 10th book of that Puran, of that scripture. Is completely focused upon Krishna. It's like a biographical account of Bhagwan Krishna. So in that, it is mentioned that Krishna goes to study under Sandeepani Muni. And if I'm not wrong, please, I may need correction on this, but I think he was just there for 64 days, for 64 days. And it is said that he learned 64 types of different kalas, as we say, and, different kinds of talents he acquired there. And one story comes where their guru, their master sends them to to bring some wood for for the Gurukul, and him and his friend, they go, and at night there's a huge storm and they have to endure that storm and the rain and the cold, etc. In the morning when he comes back, the Guru is very, very pleased with Krishna that you sacrificed so much for us, and we were very concerned about you, where you were, but you didn't keep the task that was assigned to you. So that is the kind of person that Krishna is. So he does it, he's not just talking about, okay, you do it. And in fact, even Gita talks about this very famous, I think it was from, because you are a theater person, you're an actor, so you're a creative artist. I think it was Shakespeare said that, what example great men said, common men follow, something like that. There is, I don't know. Okay, but maybe, in Bhagavad Gita there is a quote. Bhagavad Gita, there is a quote where Krishna said, Yad yad acharati srishta tattat evetaro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanuvartate. Where Krishna says, Arjuna, we have to set the example. If I, being in an important position, do not set a good example in the society, then common people will follow my lead. So he's a guru in every aspect of his life, even though people can't emulate him because the kind of stuff that he's done. But at least we can follow his words, right? We can follow his words. We can definitely follow his words.
Saying through this verse, Krishna was saying all of us can be a teacher. You don't have to be professionally a teacher, but by setting example of your life, you can actually inspire others. Right.
Totally. And that's one of the things that Bhagavad Gita for the creative soul is also trying to do. This podcast is not trying to be anybody's guru or preach to anybody. It's like our own reflections, whatever all of you are learning, and particularly Saurin, and he's trying to share his message, and here all of us are getting inspired, right, in our own way, if not similarly.
With every podcast, I also listen and work on with Saurin. It's amazing learning with all of you. I have one more question, picking up what you just said. So Krishna was a teacher. I also saw him in many other roles, not directly teaching, while he was, doing and sharing Gita learning lessons with Arjun. He was directly a teacher, but he also acted as a coach, as a mentor. In today's world, we use these words, right? Coach, mentor. You can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Call came. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'll repeat. So, Krishna was a teacher to Arjun during when he was, he shared Gita lessons with him. But I also see him performing the roles of, he's performed a role of coach and mentor, like the words that we use in today's world, right? While Arjun and the Pandavas were going through difficult times, he actually coached and mentored them that go here, go there, get these skills. Is there anything that you want to share about that, his role as a coach during that time where he wasn't sharing the skills because he thought that there's someone else, from India you can get this kind of skill and you should stay here to get these kind of skills. Is there anything that you want to talk about how he did that?
Absolutely. As soon as you started mentioning a particular incident from the Mahabharata is coming to my head, where Krishna never actually, so of course, he's considered to be a divine incarnation, and so many people now, there's so much sectarianism, there's so much, only my person is the best. But here, this person, he sent Arjuna to take, acquire a particular kind of a weapon from Shiva before the war. He, in fact, even inspires Arjuna to take the blessing of Ma Durga before the war, because he knows there are certain skill sets that, and again, even in our day and time, sometimes we see that teachers also get too attached to the students. We find a mentor, a coach who actually suggests other schools that go here. If you want to learn this thing, you go here. So he's also giving proper references. Because Arjuna was going with this reference, of course, he found acceptance in so many places. And also, when you talk about him being a mentor, him being in kind of like a coach, when the Pandavas were very, very, very disappointed with how, life had turned out for them, and how it was very, very cruel how situations turned out for them when they had to go to the forest in a very unfair means. So he reached to them. He, along with his family and his army, he went to them, he counseled them. In fact, Krishna, not many people know, Krishna at that point in time was so full of anger at the injustice that had happened against the Pandavas that he was ready to attack the Kauravas. He was ready to do that. He said, I will do it on your behalf. But again, he found ideal students. He said, no, dear teacher, you don't have to give the exam on our behalf. You just be there for us. You guide us, we'll do it. But he was ready to do that. And he also counsels Draupadi, as we've seen that Draupadi was very, very heartbroken, considering, I can't even imagine what that incredible lady went through. And she was really grieving. But it was actually Krishna who always was there for her and trying to counsel her and trying to assuage her that, times do change, right? Times do change. So,
yeah.
And not just for Pandavas, actually, for his entire family. He was always there for them. He was trying to, and again, the humility of the person is that despite being such a luminary, Krishna used to consult one of his friends. When he had to take important decisions, his friend's name was Uddhava. He was one of his friends in Dwaraka and also one of his ministers, and Krishna used to consult him. So if somebody used to come with the proposal, so Krishna said, okay, Uddhava, you tell me, what should I do? And Uddhava knew that this person knows everything. But look at the guy's humility. Even last Uddhava, and again telling us, in a way, it's like a subtle message that, you should never be overconfident about your own ability. It's always good to get a second opinion, right? So yeah, there are many such cases.
That's very interesting. And you talk about it. I'm making a mental note of all these names that you're sharing to read more about them, because they were so close to Krishna and must have had many other experiences. So if as a student or a teacher, I would want to read one chapter of Bhagavad Gita or multiple chapters of Bhagavad Gita, what would you recommend?
Depends. Depends what you're interested in. If you're a devotee, if you're devotionally inclined, if you consider Krishna to be an incarnation, you want to approach him in the form of bhakti, in the form of love, then I think 12th chapter is fantastic. Otherwise, second chapter, it is, in a way, it is like, it's like a summary of most of the topics. It's like, Krishna touches upon most of the topics. And I think in any case, a second chapter, Sheetal, works out very perfectly, because Krishna begins talking about our true eternal nature, which most of us do not know. We are so stuck in bodily conscious, and all the problems, in fact, of the entire world, this greed, hatred, all of these things, are because we are so identified with the body and the labels. And Krishna here takes away everything as soon as he begins his sermon from the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, second chapter, 11th verse only, Krishna starts, actually giving the gyan. Before that, it's just Arjuna's confusion and Krishna, not giving gyan. It's only after Arjuna has given him the position of a teacher and has directly asked that Krishna starts speaking. So second chapter, yeah. I'd say second chapter is a very good way. Although, of course, don't, it's like, it's a delicious, nourishing fruit of knowledge. So I would say, go step by step. But still, if people really want to give it a try, it will be really good to begin from the
So they can start from there. But of course, ideally, you should start from chapter 1 till the last chapter, so that you get clarity on a lot. Because when somebody asks a question in class also, or in a workplace, there are many people who are not asking questions, but they get answers. So through Arjun, the idea is, when I read Gita, through Arjun, I get a lot of answers. So whether I start, so I start with chapter 1 every time I start reading it.
Same.
Just one more question. I know I only asked for 15 minutes, but I can't stop thinking of things.
No, appreciate it.
Is there anything, any experience from Krishna's or Arjun's life that you would like to share, which is part of Bhagavad Gita also, or any particular shloks that you would like to share with me, with everyone who's joined us today, that actually will be useful and helpful for us?
I'll tell you one thing, which made me fall in love with Krishna, honestly. So I'll use that verse. I read the entire Bhagavad Gita, and I was very fortunate and very, very highly blessed that I got an opportunity to read it at a very young age, in my teens only. One thing that even as a teen, which struck me it was so impactful for me, that Krishna, he's given this entire gyan. Heck, he's even shown in the text of the Gita that he's the source of everything and he's God, literally. But then at the end of it, he says, Yathechasi tatha kuru. Do as you desire. I love this aspect about Krishna, and also why I also appreciate Bhagavad Gita for the creator soul so much. Why? Because we are trying to take the teachings and try to create our own path out of it. So Krishna is never forcing anybody. He's not talking that if you don't, hear my words, follow my words, you go to hell, or if you follow my words, you're definitely going to heaven. He's not promising you a heaven. He's not condemning you to any hellish condition. All he's saying that be open, try and read all these things. So whether we approach the Bhagavad Gita, I would say you read any book, any Gita, even if it is not a religious or a spiritual text, anywhere, whatever you're approaching, maybe a podcast, a write-up, even an Instagram post for that matter, keep an open mind, try and absorb that information, and then do as you desire. And I love it, Krishna, when he says, he says, I've given you the knowledge. That's okay. Now it's your responsibility, your choice. So I feel Gita as a book, Krishna as a teacher, as a master, he gives you his life as an example. His words are an example. In every which way, you can follow that personality. But at the same time, you try and make your own path. Don't ape. Make your own path. And he also talks about, doing your own natural inclination. He talks about following your dharma, right? Find your purpose. Find what clicks for you. Find out what really drives you. Find out what makes you come alive. Do that. And in all of those things, you can, like, so, for all of you, you're creative people, and you're trying to, trying to express your appreciation of the Gita through a creative outlet, right? Or use the Gita as an inspirational tool for your creativity. And every one of us can do that, right? I'm into, my own kind of civil engineering work or trading or whatever that I do, or I write. I try and use Krishna's words there. So it's not everybody. I think this is a very wrong impression, and I really want to clarify through this meeting. Thank you for giving this meeting, Sheetal, and Gita for the Creative Soul. That often people think that if we read the Gita or if we approach the text of the Gita, all of us, we have to, put on a tilak, and then we have to, start dancing and singing his name and do, ring a bell in a temple. No, it's not like that. Krishna can be your friend, can be your guide, can be your master, can also be your beloved deity and your God. He can play any role effectively. In fact, Krishna says, you can even make me your enemy. Even then I help you out. So that's my entire point. I think for me, my love for the personality is because he gives you the choice. And he wants you to take responsibility for your life, which is very, very important. Rather than blaming anybody here, there, everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so empowering that, I learn from you, but I decide what I'm supposed to do. So whatever happens tomorrow, it's also a choice that I'm making. So you do have divine intervention, but you also have free choice. So that's another topic that we can talk hours and hours on. And, before we, again, I have one more question. So I have two, but I'll ask you first. Any three easy things that you think I can do every day to be more closer to this teacher, Krishna, to attain him as your guru? Any three things?
So if we want to connect to Krishna, he himself says one thing. And it's very easy. And it takes just about, say, 3 to 5 seconds. One thing he says that, Man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. That you just offer me a namaskar. Simple. Anjali mudra, as we call in yoga. You bring both your palms together and you just go down. That's it. It's as simple as that. Connecting to Krishna, sometimes we think we'll have to do elaborate things, elaborate rituals. No. I also, personally, in my own personal life, I have experienced the power of lighting up a lamp, a candle, bringing in light.
Okay.
If we do it very consciously, it's a practice that people in this country have been doing for centuries, thousands of years rather. And people chant this verse, in fact, they chant that Om Shubham Karoti Kalyanam Arogyam Dhan Sampada Shatru Buddhi Vinashaya Deep Jyotir Namostute. That, and not just in this culture, which is saying that, let this light bring in auspiciousness and light, let it, even influence the minds of our enemies so that they also become, favorable to us. And then we, offer our respects to the light. Even in, ancient Iranian culture, people worship fire. So when we bring that light, if we do it with intention, you can offer it to Krishna. You can light up a candle anywhere. It makes you feel good. You will find a significant change in your energy, personal energy around you. If you're offering a pranam to Krishna, lighting up a lamp. And because we're on the topic of the Bhagavad Gita, even if you can read one verse of the Gita every day, 1 or 2 verses, don't be in a rush. Because Gita as a book, I personally feel sometimes, because it's been what? Almost 16 years. And still, whenever I do a rereading of it, whenever I'm reading it, I realize, how did I miss this? I've read it so many times, and sometimes some verse is very relevant to me. Some verse has, there's one particular verse which I've kind of I think I now have got it after 16 years. So let's not be in any rush. Even 1 verse, 2 verse, sometimes people look at the thickness of the book, the number of chapters that, oh, no, I can't do. It's okay. You don't need to read everything. Even if you read 1 verse, 2 verse, 3 verse, 1 chapter, 2 chapter, 3 chapter in your entire lifetime, that's okay. And if you're able to apply even one thing in your life, and you're able to, enhance your relationships, your work, your career, your health, your joy, your acceptance of life, why not? Right? I think 3 things, offer the Anjali Mudra, offer pranams to Krishna, light up a lamp if you can. In general, also, even if you're an atheist or you don't believe in any Krishna or any deity worship, it's okay, light for your own self. At least you believe in your own existence, right? For your own sake of your existence, light a lamp. And read the Gita if you feel like, and it can really help you, immensely help you, no doubt.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for sharing these things. Thank you for teaching us so much. I'm going to bow down to you because you're the teacher today
Really
for me. And I'm going to do these 3 things starting with extremely happy and grateful to everything that you shared. and looking forward to listening to all the podcasts every Friday, which is a small bite, which you just said, even listening to the shlok might just help me be closer to him. So thank you, Kushagra. Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone who joined and has heard us. Thanks to Krishna for being there for all of us in whatever way, we look at him and we want him. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sheetal. Thank you.
Bye, Kushagra.
Bye. Thank you.